Hello everyone, I'm Exodia, and today we are making a new video in our Roblox Scripting Advanced Tutorial series. Today we're discussing a brand new way to get touching parts. Before, what we do is we'd have to get a parts region 3 based on their size. Then we'd have to use a world root function to then detect what parts are inside of that region 3 that we define. What this new thing allows us to do is do that, but more reliably and with even more functions. And these were new as of August of this year. There will be a dev forum post linked to it in the description. What it basically is it's about world root : get parts and part. That is our brand new function we'll be going over today in this relatively shorter video for the scripting tutorials. However, let's get into it now. So let's just make before we start, let's make a new part. And we're going to call this our touching part. So this is basically just going to be the part that we're using and putting parts inside of so we can detect what it's touching. We'll just size this up a little bit. Let's also make the transparency 0.5. And so now we can make another part and just keep the name the same, and we'll make it red. And size it up a little bit, just so you can see it. I'll put that inside of there, and then we'll duplicate it with Control D. Make this one green, call it part 2. And then duplicate that again. Make this one blue. And then part 3 is what we'll call that one. And then we'll also make everything here anchored. And now what we want to do is make a brand new script in ServerScript service, and I'll just call this get touching parts, just to be a little bit organized. So now what we're going to do is with world root : get parts and part, it introduces a new thing called overlap params. If you watched the raycasting tutorial video in our advanced scripting tutorial series, which I could really assume that most people on this channel have at some point, as it's now my most viewed video by quite a long shot, with almost 500 views as of recording this. So thank you guys so much for that. But anyways, we have our Raycast Params, which, if you know with Raycast Params, local Raycast Params equals Raycast Params.new. You have these things that you can add to the Raycast params to allow your ray to filter. So you have your collision group, your filter descendants instances, your filter type, and ignore water. Well, these same parameters inside of our Raycast params are going to apply for overlap params, because we're just filtering out the parts we want to detect inside of our touching part. So in this case, we'll just make a variable for our touching part. So local touching part equals workspace : find first child touching part, and then we'll make our new overlap params equals overlap params dot new, just like that. And then we do overlap params. If we press that dot, then you'll see, of course, we don't need to filter out water because that's specific to array. We have our collision group, filter descendants instances, and our filter type. All these things allowing us to filter stuff out of our touching part. I'm not going to use any of these, however, just know that these will function similar to our Raycast params. So now what we'll do is we'll just do our local touching, and we'll do touching list equals workspace : get part. And what you'll notice here is that get parts and part is right here. However, there's also two more things that Roblox added along with : get parts and part, and that would be get part bounds and box, get part bounds and radius. We won't really go into those in this video. We are mainly focusing on get parts and part, as this allows us to detect the touching parts, basically. So yeah, we'll do get parts and part, and as you can see, our parameters for this are the instance part that we are trying to get. It's basically the part that we're trying to see everything that's touching it. And then our overlap params. So actually, we will make some overlap params. We just won't pass anything in there. We'll just keep all the defaults. So get parts in part, and then we'll do our touching part, and then overlap params. So what this is going to return is it's going to return a table of all the touching parts of the listed object we gave. So this should actually return all three of these parts if we were to run this right now. So we could actually print. Should be able to print our touching list. We could probably run a for loop instead. But if we run this code. Yeah, never mind. It returns our table. So we have our parts, they're all touching in our workspace. And yeah, I just that's really all you need to know for world root : get parts in part. It's just a nice new way that allows you to detect what parts are touching, and then you could even do your own artificial filters, like maybe you want to detect, maybe you're making like a tower defense game and you want to make sure your tower is not touching another hitbox of a different tower or something when you're trying to make your placement system, or that two towers aren't touching when you're trying to place another one. This is something you can utilize that for. I'm actually working on a tower defense project right now, and I actually use world root : get parts in part because it's pretty useful. But yeah, that's really it. It's going to be a short video today because there isn't really much to say about it. I mean, this is just the topic. But yeah, I want to bring this video so I could show you guys this new thing in case you're still using region 3s. Now with the introduction of overlap params and workspace : get parts in part, region 3s and using that method for getting touching parts is now going to be deprecated, which means it's no longer going to get updated. So you should use the new method in your code rather than using the old stuff. So yeah, that's it for the video. See ya.